Today we want to talk about signs of a heartbreak and how to heal. The scriptures tell us to guard the heart with all diligence, for out of it flows the issues of life. And as I really begin to exegete that and think about it, how do you really affect the heart? How do you affect the heart of a man or the heart of a woman? It has to be due to relationships. Parental relationships, platonic relationships, romantic relationships, all types of relationships. Once you've been abused, once you've experienced trauma, once you've experienced pain, that can really affect your heart. And so we want to park really quick and spend some time on how to identify that your heart is broken. Because if you don't understand the state of your heart, you won't know how to properly medicate your heart.
So our first sign is you're emotionally stranded. What does that mean? Emotionally stranded means you are just stuck. You cannot move past it. You can't move past the breakup. You can't move past the adultery or the divorce or the hurt or whether it was your fault or the other person's fault. You just can't move on. If you have that type of numbness where you feel like I just can't move past this, crying at work or you're just thinking about it all the time, you're emotionally stranded.
I'm stuck in this cell of offense. I'm stuck in this cell of woundedness. I'm stuck in this cell of brokenness. And to be quite honest, you might begin to say stuff like, I'm never going to love again. I'm done with men. I'm done with women. I'm done with relationships. I ain't never going to get married. The gravity of what hit your heart was so massive that you're stuck. And this leads us to point number 2, rest vacancy. Rest vacancy is when you just can't sleep. You might be laying down, but you're not really getting rest.
Man, that's so...
You're waking up tired. Like the first emotion you feel when you wake up is exhausted. You're feeling drained. You don't want to move. You don't want to get up.
You have no energy.
You have no energy.
No passion for life.
No passion.
Nothing.
You can't find rest. This is a sign that your heart is probably broken.
Point number 3 is bandage candidates. And that's like a rebound relationship, basically. Like you get into situationships, relationships, or you find another person to kind of fill the void of what that person was to you. That doesn't work well. It's almost like you're using that person to fill a place that they don't have the capacity to fill.
Bandage relationship is when you try to use a person to stop your bleeding. You don't love yourself or them enough to recognize I'm damaged. And I need right now to not enter the relational pools. See, people always make this false statement. There are many fish in the sea. The problem with that is there's sharks as well. When you get in the relational waters while bleeding, you will attract sharks because the enemy does have people in the earth designed to prey on the wounded. Point number 4 is substance escape. This is when you're trying to find a substance to cause for you to escape from your reality, escape from your pain. Alcohol, marijuana, crack, pills. It's almost a false Hakuna Matata type of philosophy that it means no worries. You can never heal from a void that you avoid. And when you practice this type of methodology, you're never getting to the root.
That makes you numb.
It makes you numb. It makes you numb. It may fog you for a little bit, fog you for a moment, but it never allows you to properly heal correctly.
Number 5 is a vaulted heart. And you have basically built walls and you're like, you know what? I'm hurt. There's nobody gonna do this to me again, and it's on lockdown, and I'm throwing away the key.
The Bible says to guard your heart, not vault your heart. The problem, if you wall your heart, you can't get out, and nobody can get in. So those are some ways you can identify if your heart is broken. And so now, how do you heal from it?
You have to have an autopsy.
You have to figure out, how did this die? Like, what killed my marriage? How did my marriage die?
Research.
How did this relationship die? Was it me? Was it them? Was it both of us? What was the cause of death? If you don't recognize the cause of death, you could possibly entertain something else that's deadly.
Number 2 is have a funeral. And listen, this is necessary. You have to have a funeral for that individual, not like morbidly like you want them to die. But you have to have a funeral for the relationship and what once was. Like that is no longer gonna come, that's not gonna come back to life. If I keep rehearsing it or try to keep it alive in my heart, in my mind, in my life, in my emotions, if I try to keep it alive, it's gonna keep honestly killing me. I need to have a funeral for my past.
And you know what keeps us emotionally stranded is false hope. So
that's good too.
we won't let go fully,
Yeah.
because we hope there's some way that somehow they'll
they may
back.
come back.
Sometimes God doesn't want certain relationships restored. He wants them fully released.
Right.
Could it be that it was God that was instrumental that caused this relationship to end?
Right.
Because I can't really get you to level 10 as long as you're entertaining this relationship.
Right,
And
that's
God
good.
knows who's toxic for you and you're level 7. And he'll remove them in level 8 because he knows where you're going in level 10. And number 3 is burial. Have a burial. Once you have a funeral, then you go to graveside. You bury it. This means you have to get rid of possibly some old gifts. Pictures. You may have to deactivate Facebook.
Right.
You may have to unfollow some people.
Right.
Whatever it is that is constantly irritating your wound.
Right.
This is not permanent. This is a season, not a state.
Yeah.
This is a season, not a sentence.
Yeah.
You have to recognize for this season of my life, due to what my heart is going through, due to the trauma in my heart, I got to get off social media.
Yeah.
Due to the trauma, I cannot continue to keep these gifts.
Right.
I can't keep, because it keeps taking my mind back to a place that's causing for me to open a wound that I'm begging for God to heal.
Point number 4 is remove and replace. And I think that this is a really, really important point, because you have to get yourself back to a place of healthy living and healthy and thriving and flourishing. So maybe this is the time, like once you've had the burial and the autopsy and the funeral, once you've had all that stuff, now it's time, you know what, let me live again. Let me get back to my passion. Let me get involved in the lives of other people. Let me focus on something that is productive. Let me start a new hobby. Let me go back to school. Let me do something that's gonna, let me know that I have a lot of life in me, that this didn't break me, that this didn't end me. Let me remove this from my life and then replace it with something that is good for me. This isn't like, another relationship, like we said before. This is something that is going to be beneficial to your life to help you along in the healing process so that you can really pour yourself into something that's going to make you a better person, honestly.
And God has this same methodology. He'll either remove it and replace it, or remove it and become it. Since the fall of man, God saw that sin plagued us, and he wanted to remove it, so he had to become it. He who knew no sin became sin for us. And the same way, I think maybe God replaces some things so that he can become your everything. Replace it by working out.
Right.
Replace it by joining a book club.
Yeah.
Replace it by going on mission trips.
Right.
Replace it by giving to your community.
Yeah.
Remove it and replace
Fall
it.
in love with him. Fall in love with Jesus Christ all over again.
And point number 5, potter reflections. This is when you, the clay, has to stop and pause and remember everything the potter said about you.
Yes.
Reflect on his promises.
Right.
Reflect that you're the head and not the tail. Reflect on all the things God said about you versus all the things that they did to you.
Yes, I mean, and remember that you're beautiful, that you're handsome, that you have wonderful qualities, that you've got something going for you, that you have a lot of life to live, that you're a good person. Like, reflect on all the great things about yourself, and don't allow that breakup or that severing of that relationship, whatever it may be, don't let that define who you are. Let yourself be defined by what God says about you and what you believe about yourself.
And last point, give it time.
Yeah.
Regardless if you join a fitness club, regardless if you do mission trips,
which is all good.
Yeah, they're all good, but there's just some things that time only can heal.
Time heals. Yeah,
time heals, and time is always our friend. It only becomes our enemy when we waste it. This is a becoming process, but I'm recognizing that it's a unbecoming process as well. There are a lot of things that you have to unbecome. There are a lot of things that you have to unlearn. There are a lot of things that you have to detox from so that you can fully embrace everything that God is trying to get you to walk into. Give it time. It's Redefined TV,
where we're redefining relationships righteously.